baby bear cheese, baby bear cheese, baby
You know the
bear.
ones
Have you got them?
No, I don't have them.
Okay. Baby bear cheese, baby bear cheese.
Maybe they're in one of the
they're gonna
boxes.
be-
They just got found,
Well,
didn't they?
no, they, no, there's one, but is it in good shape? I don't know. Let me see. Oh, here we go. Versus baby bear tooth. In fact, it's so small that it may have been a neonate just born. It may have been shed normally. We don't have to, necessarily have tears. And it's already, that would already nip you if you were to put your finger in a baby bear. My story concerns the possible and probable presence of humans round about 15,000 years ago in the cave. And it started with this bone. This is part of a reindeer tibia. Spiral fractures are caused in bones, long bones, when you hit them with a stone like this to split them. The reason for splitting them being to get to the marrow, which is the most nourishing foodstuff. So this is not a natural fracture. After 3 years, yes, I had 6,000 hours of work, 2 years, just to do this on my own. So I thought, is there a machine that can do this? And the moment I had the concept, designing the machine was, that's what I'm good at. It's back of an envelope, boom, 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 done. Yeah. Probably why I'm still there, because physically I can't put the effort quite as much as before, although it's still good. But I suppose my practical sense, and I've always been interested in DIY when I was a kid, etc. Then my early years in my professional career in pipeline construction taught me to, in French, se débrouiller, to manage by yourself. This is the sewing machine, consisting of a tub, perspex lid, underneath which there are two garden sprinklers. My professional career was in the oil industry. It never was what I wanted to do. I was always fascinated by mammals, preferably mammal, and preferably African mammal, because I love Africa as well, where I've been many, many times. It didn't happen. I had, for various reasons, to go into the oil industry, but it never was what I wanted to do. And I don't think I pushed my daughter to go the way she did, but she did a degree in archaeology, got a first. She went from there to do a PhD in paleontology, fossils, two lines which we discussed a lot, and I both loved really. So, having loved archaeology and mammalogy, she's doing paleontology on mammals, absolutely spot on. And when I left the oil industry, it was to be able to work with my daughter and the British Museum and the Natural History Museum all the time as a volunteer, but at last doing something I really enjoyed. Really helped to sieve this. So just pour it in, pour the residue in, just a little bit to begin. If the sediment is a lot rounder than this, it will travel down the slope, and this is why I've had those bars here to alter the angle, make it steeper or not. And once everything's gone down that end, it can be properly clean, or you might need a return go, in which case I'll have exactly the same setup here, and then the angle is reversed and the sediment travels like this. And in 2 goes, it's clean. I did stop smoking for 18 months when I went 1 year sabbatical in Africa. Yeah, no problem. The moment I knew I was going to go, 6 months later, I stopped smoking. There and then, no problem at all. And I didn't smoke over there. And when I got back to so-called civilization, because I couldn't take the stress anymore. And it gave me the opportunity as well, many trips, to be with Andrei Sher, a Russian mammoth specialist. So we used to share rooms throughout, and I had some really great conversation with Andrei. Yeah. Amazingly, this bone, which is somewhere between 30,000 and maybe 50,000, we're waiting for dating on this, is fractionally bigger than what we had 220,000 years ago.
Wow.
So this would have been an enormous bison, really, 2 meters at the shoulder.
Wow.
A very frightening animal. And yet, what we can tell from other places, being hunted by humans.
By humans.
Yeah.
Okay.
We will also find bits of bird, amphibians, reptiles, and, would you believe, in a cave, rather surprisingly, fish. The fish got into the cave, transported either by birds of prey or possibly even small mammals who actually ate them. It really is forensic science. When we were doing the sieving the first year, above the cave, on the plateau, we had to carry gallons and gallons of water to try and sieve in a tub and everything. We did it the first year, it was slow. Second year, there was quite a lot of rain, nothing was drying, we had to abandon that, but the sediment in the cave was quite dry. So I said to Danielle, well, we can't sieve any more up there, but we can sieve in front of the cave if I make a sort of dry sieving station. What do I need for that? Oh, piece of luck. Our 12-inch diameter sieves fitted exactly on a bucket, so whatever we sieved would go in the bucket. If, oh yes, where the handles go on the bucket, I'll put 2 strings onto, yes, a piece of wood at an angle like this, which could actually rest on the banister we'd made so that we wouldn't fall down the slope. Up like this, 2 pieces of string, and there we had our sieves.
Yeah.
So just gradually push it all down, and eventually it gets all cleaned. But if I do see a largish bone or something that, you know, is worth picking out so that it doesn't, there's no risk then of damaging it further, then of course I will pick it out, clean it well, put it to dry, and bag it with, again, all the details. This is the critical point about all our operations, is that you have to keep track of where it comes from. If you haven't got provenance, as it's called, it loses all its value scientifically, and you might as well put them on your mantelpiece. This is an awful lot of repair, for example. This is the canine, and don't be confused, that's not the canine, that's the root part. So this is from a very old bear, brown bear. That is what would have protruded above the gum, the crown. Yeah. And it would have gone, of course, all the way up to here as a tip, a real sharp tip. But this poor animal's worn it so much that this is what's left, including the root canal. So I dread to think how painful that really would have been. Painful. Yeah. You pour your residue in here. The machine is adjustable with these to leave just a little height there for just the right size of particle to come through, and then at a given speed you turn it on and
Oh, look at that.
it makes this vibrate, and it just gradually makes this travel. And of course, when it gets here, I'll make it fall into the tub, but it would fall into the liquid where the stones will go to the top, the bones and teeth will float.
Okay.
And then it's just a question of lifting, scooping with a little funnel, scoop the fines at the top. This floating process misses nothing. Really my pride and joy is what I thought of to convey samples from the caves to the sieving station in Gibraltar. There are 365 steps, which of course going down is easy in the morning. At the end of the day, when you're knackered, 365 steps, very hard. And those rocks being just pounded by the waves all the time are as sharp as anything.
Yeah.
And since the samples were once again carried at the end of the day in Hessian bags, it was an absolute nightmare. My immediate idea was very simple: a cable, as like in cable cars, from Vanguard down to the promontory. You attach a pulley to the cable, a return pulley system to pull what's hanging under the pulley, a basket in which you put your samples, and the natural gravity will take it down to there. Same from Gorham's onto the station. Problem between the promontory and the sieving station, where we had those 90 meters and not enough fall for the basket to go freely. And suddenly it occurred to me, I thought, yes, a bicycle, that'd be perfect to motorize the pulley system. Yes, perfect, no, the idea is good, but you'll be with your back to what's coming, so all the time you've got to be like this to see what's coming. And also with the free wheel, well, it'll only work one way, you can't do it the other. So I had to improve on that, and during a Sunday morning trip to the tip, the local tip, there was an exercise bicycle abandoned. A big free wheel with even a groove like a normal wheel, and no free wheel, so you could go forward and backward. There was a lot of laughter, a certain amount of betting on how this would work or not work, but I'm delighted that it worked absolutely perfectly. And the great advantage was that people weren't getting hurt, we weren't losing samples anymore, etc. And it worked absolutely beautifully.
So
yes.
did someone have to ride the bike? Or was it just...
Yes, somebody had to ride
Who rode
the bicycle, and I have a picture which I sneaked one lunchtime of 22 stone Andy Current exercising on a bike on Gibraltar's rocky beach. That had never happened before. And even worse, he was actually only pedaling because he was a fanatic of Coca-Cola, and he would bring many 2-liter bottles. So he'd put them in the basket, and he was actually bringing his supply of Coca-Cola. And so I've entitled the picture I have, Andy Current peddling his Coke on Gibraltar Beach.
Very good.